Here comes the Dallas Stars, make it 6 straight wins after a 4-1 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. Is Matt Dumba starting to hit his stride, and Mavrik Bourque is slowly coming along? We'll break it all down on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Watch out. The Dallas Stars have won 6 straight, a 4-1 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. They've taken the first 2 games of this 5-game road trip. They extend their point streak to 8 straight games as well, which matches the longest such streak under head coach Pete DeBoer. Matt Dumba with his best performance as a Dallas Star. We'll touch on him. We'll talk about Mavrik Bourque as well. He's starting to come along. And then, of course, we'll touch on the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night before we get out of here on a Friday edition of Locked On Stars. Good to be with you, Stars fans. Hope everybody is enduring the cold weather and staying as warm and safe as possible over the weekend. But what a victory for the Dallas Stars, taking this one by a final score of 4-1. And it wasn't all pretty, but for large chunks of this one, the Dallas Stars were absolutely dominant. That second period in particular was just pure domination. The Stars were humming, all 4 lines getting in on the action, making things happen, just extended zone time one after another. I thought the Stars' defense, in terms of their offensive ability, with Miro Heiskanen, Thomas Harley, Dumba, Lyubushkin, some of the best we have seen from them this season as well. They were huge parts of that second period. You look at the puck possession at 5-on-5, 66% for the Dallas Stars. They ended up with 14 scoring chances at 5-on-5 in that second period. Flyers had 5, 14-5. Just pure domination in the middle period. Stars could have had more. They only ended up with 1 from Wyatt Johnston, but he scores his 10th goal of the season. An absolute wrister from Johnston. Weapons grade stuff from Wyatt. He was assisted by Jamie Benn, and don't forget about the play that Lundqvist made in the defensive zone to break up the pass and then get Jamie Benn through center, and then boom, 1 pass to the left for Johnston, and he roofs it and buries it. Turning defense into offense, sort of that was the story of the night for Dallas against Philly. Their transition game was fast, it was strong, and credit to Dallas for making the Flyers pay off the rush. When they had numbers, they went straight to the net, and it was simple stuff too. That's what I loved about all 3 goals for the Dallas Stars, outside of the empty netter, of course, from Miro Heiskanen, which was an absolute bullseye from the bottom of his own circle. But just simple textbook stuff from the Stars. You look at the Mavrik Bourque goal, right? Matt Dumba leading the charge, had to settle down a bouncing puck and is able to work it out in front. And then Bourque just cutting to the net. That's where you score your goals. The goal was coming from Bourque. He was on top of it in New York. He had so many looks and chances. He should have gotten on the score sheet. He gets rewarded tonight for going to the puddle. Dumba puts it on his blade. He redirects it home past Erickson, and then you get the Rope Hintz goal following about halfway through the period. Robertson with a great headman pass to Dadonov. He doesn't do too much with it. Rope Hintz is going to the net. Dadonov puts it there. Rebound was open and available, and Rope Hintz slides it in. Like textbook off-the-rush counterattacks from Dallas. And when they play with that speed and that tenacity and energy, they're really, really hard to beat, and they really went to work in that second period. They could have blown the game wide open, but they get the insurance tally from Johnston. Flyers pushed pushed in the third period, and they got rewarded with one off a nice bounce off the end wall, and Frost was able to beat DeSmith, who was trying to get back to the post. But Casey DeSmith was huge in this one too, made some key saves early on in the game when Philly had some juice at the beginning, had Dallas on their heels for a few moments, and they got some good looks off on Casey DeSmith. Like, he was a big story of the night as well. He stopped 27 of 28, and there was some decent looks for the Flyers in the game. They ended up with 10 high-danger scoring chances at 5-on-5. Dallas only had 13. Their expected goals were 2.28 on the night. Dallas had an expected goals for of 3.79. But DeSmith played excellent for Dallas, and they needed him to. Of course, Philadelphia hit some posts. Like, Dallas was fortunate on some of the looks they gave up. They had a few odd man rushes, and Philly hit a few pipes. Konecny, I want to say in the third period, it may have been the second, hit a pipe. I think Tippett hit a pipe too as well in the contest. So they got some fortunate bounces, but when things are going the right way, things are going the right way. It's a big win again. And we mentioned it in the preview episode. Dallas needs to score first. Philadelphia has struggled at home when they play from behind. And then boom, Dallas jumps out to a 2-0 lead 10 minutes in to the first period. And from there, they just sort of took control. I mean, that second period, they had a shift. It felt maybe they were in the offensive zone for 3 minutes. Like, Philly couldn't do anything. It was a miracle. Dallas didn't score in the game, but we have to show some love to Matt Dumba. His best game as a Dallas Star was all over the sheet. Of course, he picks up the assist on Bourque's goal, but he's playing really well since he returned to the lineup. And I've certainly given Dumba his fair share of criticism, and I know many Stars fans are not too fond of what he's brought to the Stars this season. But since he returned to the lineup, he has been really, really good. I have to admit, he ended up with the highest game score on the night for Dallas at 3.87. I know he had the hooking penalty back in the first period, but and he had the interference in the third. But look, when Dumba, I think, is playing at his best at this point in his career, he's going to have a few penalties, and you can live with some of the physical nature of his game. Like, he's going to muck it up, and sometimes he's going to get called. Fortunately for him, the Stars PK is 28 of their last 30. Like, the success rate is huge at 93%. They've been pretty unbeatable, and they were able to bail him out a few times. But other than that, I thought he was so important and impactful for Dallas in a good way. And there were some still mistakes in the game. He allowed a good net rush by Philly in the first period. Like, he has some mistakes, but as I've sort of said throughout the season, you just kind of have to live with who Matt Dumba is as a player. But I think he looked really, really strong tonight. I mean, look at his scoring chances when he's on the ice at 5-on-5. It led Dallas with 13. He had 5 against, but 13 scoring chances. Like, that's pretty big for Matt Dumba. And when he was on the ice, good things were happening. Expected goals for 1.31. That was the highest on Dallas on the night at 5-on-5. So we have to give credit where credit is due. And yeah, he took a couple penalties, but I thought he had such a strong game, and really the back end in general. Miro, Harley, great stuff from those two. They ended up with game scores over 2.4 on the night. The top 3 Stars via hockey stat cards: Dumba, Harley, and Heiskanen. Of course, Miro gets the empty net goal late, but when Dallas gets that sort of effort and performance out of their back end, they're going to be hard to beat. We know that because the offense can be lethal. It can execute when the defense is rolling and involved in the offense. I mentioned the transition game, turning defense into offense, shutting down the Flyers on entries, working the puck up quickly with one pass, and then boom, Rope, Hintz, and Robertson can do the rest of it, right? Hintz has 19 now on the season, another multi-point night for Jason Robertson, who continues to stay hot. He's got 20 points in his last 17 games, and now he's nipping at the heels of Matt Duchene for the most points on the Dallas Stars right now. Like he's quietly starting to put together a huge month of hockey. I thought all four lines again were rolling. They found a really nice group right now, even with the losses of Marchment and Sagan. You love Dodonov on that top line. Dutchy and Ben and the kid Johnston firing all cylinders. I mean, just the amount of plays and chances the Bourque line was creating too. They ended up with 6 scoring chances on the night, and you get 3 lines to pitch in. You talk about the depth that Dallas has, but can they pitch in and score? Well, they did that tonight in a big way. Good to see Bourque get on the board. Like Stanky is still snake bitten. they need him to find the back of the net at some point. And then, you don't have to rely a ton on the Beck and Huru and Blackwell line. They can just do what they do best, and that's just spend time in the offensive zone and just wear down opponents. And I thought it was just a really solid performance. We're starting to see more consistent 60-minute performances here for the Stars. The last 2 to 3 games, you're starting to see them more connective and just cohesive as a team, like just really good team play in general from Dallas. And it's massive. It's massive and great momentum for the month here and some change heading in to the Four Nations face-off that can just continue to stack wins and stack points. And now you look up, you got 2 games in hand on Minnesota, and I know they're going through a litany of injuries, but if you win both, like you're in second place in the Central, and you're 2 points behind Winnipeg, who you have a couple of games in hand on as well. So, Dallas is in a good spot. And I know I was sort of sounding the alarms about a month ago, but this is the Dallas Stars hockey we were hoping to see right now. And it's coming together at a good time. I guess better late than never. I just thought such strong performances from a lot of individuals. I could really show love to just, everybody up and down the lineup. But I thought there was just some strong nights all the way around. Casey DeSmith is like a second star for Dallas on the night. He was fantastic. And he needed to be like Flyers tested him. The score could have been a lot closer. Could have easily been flipped if Philly was able to capitalize on some of their chances. Like they had some good looks against DeSmith, especially early, who I thought was calm. He was really good with traffic in front of him. Hold his rebound control, something that really stuck out. Like Flyers got nothing in terms of second chance opportunities, and they had some bodies at the puddle and trying to take the eyes away from DeSmith. But 6 wins, point streak is now at 8 games. And Dallas is rolling. They're rolling, and they take the first 2 games of this little 5-game road trip. So I thought just a really strong road performance from Dallas. Like a lot of what we saw from last season, where they get out, put the pressure on, get a lead, and just suffocate opponents. And I thought they did that for the most part. Holding on to a 3-0 lead, you're gonna get a pushback, especially from Philly under Torts. He's not going to allow them to just lie down and take it the rest of the way. They came back at Dallas, and they surrendered the one, and they found a way to close it late. So just great stuff, fantastic stuff. Let's get into Bourque a little bit, because he's starting to come along and play some of his best hockey, which is a great sign for himself and for the Stars moving forward. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Get in on the action this weekend. The NFL playoffs begin. Do not miss out on making some money while you're watching the playoffs. Download the FanDuel app. It takes 30 seconds. It's free. It's available. You can bet on who's going to score first, over or under on certain total points, maybe yards. Those are the type of options for specific players you can have on FanDuel. And as I mentioned, if you visit FanDuel.com today, you can join and get $200 in bonus bets. Play that first $5 bet. Win or lose, you will get $200 in bonus bets. It's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So Mavrik Bourque talked to Razor and Josh Bogorod after the game and touched on how happy he was to get one to finally hit the back of the net and how the guys were all spurring him on and the guys were really happy for him. And he's also really looking forward to coming back home to Montreal on Saturday night. So that will be a huge, huge homecoming for Bourque as well. But you're starting to see his game grow now, game in and game out. And I think a nice sign too for him is he's not playing with Robertson and Hintz, right? He got a few looks playing on the top line to see if they could get him going, but he's playing with Sam Steele and Stankoven on the bottom six, and he's producing. He's producing chances. It's not always going to end up with him ending up on the stat sheet, but he's creating looks, and he looks more comfortable with the puck on his stick. He looks more confident in the way he's handling the pill and making plays, especially the simple ones. Like he's going to the net. He's going to those areas where you find goals. And that is just so big for the Stars because Bourque can be an X factor for Dallas moving forward. If he can turn into what we thought he could become this season, which is a borderline top six center iceman / winger, right? Whatever you want him to play, it's another weapon in the bag for Pete DeBoer. And I think playing with Stankoven brings some familiarity. They have similar style of games in some way. And of course, they ripped it up in the AHL last season. So that's just a comfortable fit. And I imagine playing with a veteran like Sam Steele, it's really easy because Steele is not the skill and the I guess the overall gravitas type of game. Like Steele's just, we're going 200 feet. We're taking it to the rack type of player, which opens up some ice for Stanky and him to do what they do best, and that's work with one another. And just the overall game, and I bring a comparison to Johnston a bit in his first season as a rookie, where just it feels like every game he gets a little better here and there. In that New York game, you could see it coming. I mean, he had 4 or 5 really, really good high danger looks, and then he gets rewarded tonight. Like you can see his game grow, game in and game out. And this is big because the Stars are missing Marchment and Seguin. He can fill that void. He can fill some of that offensive output and hopefully production at some point. I think you're going to start really seeing the production get an uptick. And who knows, maybe he finds his way into the top 6, or he is your third line option when Seguin and Marchment come back, or when Sagan's fully good to go, let's say in the playoffs. Like imagine Bourque as your third line center, and he's starting to play the way he's capable of with guys like Stankoven, or maybe they want to go back to Jamie Benn and Johnston and Stankoven, and Bourque is somewhere with Dutchy at some point, depending on, the health of Sagan in the postseason, right? Like, it just gives Pete DeBoer a lot more options, and he's going to start earning some more opportunities. I just think he could be a real X factor, because it's great that Robertson and Hintz are going the way they are right now. But if Bourque is playing the way we think he's capable of, it just makes Dallas that much deeper of a team. And it's not just like a typical bottom six guy. Like, you're looking at a guy that could be hopefully a 20-plus goal scorer in his career. Maybe it's not 30, but if he can pot 20 goals a season, which I think he's very capable of when he continues to get more comfortable. It's another weapon to add. And I just love the way he's been playing recently. And I just think his positioning and awareness are a lot stronger. And we spoke about it earlier in the season about how to each level he's gone to, there's been a learning curve. Even the AHL, he didn't light it up his first season down in Cedar Park. Like, it's a learning curve for him, and he's starting to figure it out. And I imagine the confidence is at an all-time high. Gets to go home here against Montreal. So again, it just seems like things are clicking for Dallas at a really nice time to make a push. So I'm just really looking forward to watching his game continue to grow. And I know there's been some talk out there about possibly moving him at the deadline for a big piece. And I certainly understand it. But as I said, you just cannot give up on a player like Bourque that early. Just cannot give up on him, because he could quickly become a Johnston or a Stankoven. And unfortunately, again, like, Stanky just cannot find the back of the net. He hasn't scored since November. Oh, it's tragic. I believe it's November. But look, they're going to get it going. I love their line. It's exactly, I mean, it's got to be a coach's dream to watch that trio go out there, because you're just going to get a strong shift in all three zones. So good stuff from Bourque, and I think he's a huge part of the Stars moving forward. And it's just another guy that opponent has to look out for when you're trying to shut down 21, 24, 95, you name it right now. You got to watch out for this line too. And this can make Dallas dangerous. I'll be honest, feels awesome to come on here and just sort of pump the Stars tires a bit. It feels really good just to be sort of in this mood where it's a little jolly right now. And of course, plenty of things to improve on, and it's not all perfect, but for once, there just seems to be some momentum right now, and it's one foot in front of the other instead of the one step forward and two steps back for most of what we've seen this season. So it's look, I can't even stop smiling. It's satisfying. That's what we'll go with. That's the superlative I'll use. It's satisfying. All righty. Let's take a quick peek at Montreal for tomorrow, since I won't be able to put out an episode on the weekend. Let's do a quick peek at the Habs, and we'll play Shooting Star as well to send you off into the weekend here on a Friday. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Gametime. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, comedy, you name it. One of my favorite moments from the summer was going to a Tate McRae concert. And I went on Gametime, I ordered my tickets, and boom, I had a fabulous time, and it was an absolute blast. And Gametime made it so easy. The great thing about Gametime, Stars fans, is it takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. They have this new feature called Gametime Picks. Filters out all the fluff. You don't have to worry about searching through the thousands of tickets that are available to you. You find the ones that you want for the price point you want, and you can see the view from your seat before you buy it, so you don't have to worry about any of the shenanigans when you get to the arena, the ballpark, wherever you may be. Game Time picks. You can find amazing deals. They have the super deal, which is particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. They show all of the in prices up front as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, Stars fans. It can be a drag sometimes with all the fees. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the code LOCKED ONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. The Dallas Stars will look to extend their win streak on Saturday at the Bell Center against the Montreal Canadiens. The Habs, who are 19-18-3 this season, coming off of a 5-4 victory over the Vancouver Canucks. And the Canadiens will be playing a back-to-back as well. As I'm recording this, they do play Friday night. So they're playing Washington. So you do get an advantage. It can be an advantage with Montreal playing on the back end of a back-to-back. But of course, they have a young, talented shooting wingers, centers, you name it. Suzuki, who's been a bit of a thorn in the side of Dallas, I feel like in the recent matchups, having a heck of a year, 41 points in 40 games. Cole Caulfield with 22 goals this season. Honestly, sort of a snub to not have him on the USA team in the Four Nations faceoff, but he's having a heck of a season. He has 15 even strength goals, 7 power play goals as well. They have Lane Hudson, who's another talented rookie who's putting together a nice campaign, 30 points in 40 games. From the defensemen. If we look at some of the head-to-head numbers, Montreal's scoring at a pretty decent rate this season. They're 16th, 3 goals per game, 3.38 goals against. That's 28th in the NHL. Their power play and penalty kill are right around about league average. They got Sam Montembeault, who can steal a game at any point. He's 15-15 this season. He's given up 86 goals, however, and that is the most in the NHL. He's already made 31 starts, so he's been a busy boy. Has a save percentage under 900, but his goals against is 2.95. He's faced a lot of shots, 840 shots this season. So that's a quick peek at the Montreal Canadiens. They're 17th in goals for this season in the NHL. It's 120 total goals, 135 against. That's 25th out of 32 teams. Nick Suzuki lately has been the hot hand, and of course Caulfield has been pretty much the hot hand all season long, but they're rolling. As I'm recording this on a Thursday night, they're 8-2-0 in their last 10. They beat some good teams. They beat Vegas, Colorado, Vancouver, Tampa Bay, and Florida. So they're not just beating up on some bad teams. They're 5th in the Atlantic. They're still trying to push for a playoff spot right now. So it's a great test, and who cares if they're playing on a back-to-back? Like, they have to make a big push if they want to sniff a postseason. They're 4 points out of a wild card spot right now, and they do have a couple of games in hand. They get Washington here on Friday, so that's the best team in the Metro right now, best team in the East, and they're going to be taking on a team that's coming in with phenomenal form right now. So here we go at the Bell Center. Let's get some shooting star picks in as well. I got to see who the fans chose. You wonderful Locked On Stars listeners chose for Thursday night's game. I didn't get a chance to look at who your pick was. Let's take a peek. Y'all went with Hintz and Stankov, and it was a tie. I'll give it to Hintz. I'm going to break the tie since I went with Hintz. I'll break the tie. And I'm going to give the shooting star for Thursday to Matt Dumba. I think he deserves it. So, I want to give it to Hintz. I really do. I think he could definitely be an argument for the win, but I think out of what we saw from Dumba, even with the 2 penalties, we're going to show him some love. So he's going to get the shooting star nod for January 9th. All righty, now for Saturday at the Bell Center, I'm going to go with Mavrik Bourque. I'm going to ride the hot hand. Why not? The young kid has a big night in Montreal in his return home. So I'm going to go with Mavrik Bourque. Of course, let me know your pick in the comments below. I'll have it ready as well. Even though I won't be putting out a game, I'll have it ready on the YouTube community tab. Appreciate all of you for participating there. So that is my shooting star pick for tomorrow. And that will do it for a Friday edition of Locked On Stars. A jammed-packed episode for you on a Friday. Plenty to talk about. A lot of great performances from Dallas. And as I said before, it's really satisfying to talk about the Dallas Stars. Seems to be some juice right now in their game. So there we go. I want to say thank you for the love, the support on all the videos and all the episodes. Our numbers have been so great this season, and I really, really appreciate that. And I know there's a lot of options out there, which is great. So I appreciate you coming back, and I appreciate you listening to everything else too. I really do, because there's just so many great minds out there, and obviously way better opinions than mine. So I appreciate you for sticking with me and listening to all the different stuff that's out there on Dallas Stars hockey, because just so much great content being put out there. And this team certainly deserves it. They really do. So, but appreciate, particularly on the videos here in Locked On Stars, and y'all hitting the subscribe button. It's been awesome. And again, I hope you're weathering the storm right now, the snowstorm in DFW, and just the cold front in general here in the South. It's not a lot of fun, but I bet before we know it, we'll be back up in the 60s, right? That's just how the weather works down here. So stay warm. Enjoy a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on Monday with a fresh new episode. I promise this time. I know sometimes I kind of drop the ball after a long weekend, but only got 2 games this weekend I got to call, so I'm gonna have enough energy to put one out on a Monday for you guys. Anyways, I'm rambling. Enjoy your weekend, and see you on Monday. So long, Stars fans.